A young man narrates his story of newlywed wife. Although he has divorced her, he still seek for advice from members of social communities. Please kindly listen to his story and profess advices for him. He really needs them, and he will also be reading the comment sections. Thanks for your help and understanding. The young man narration. I am 24 years old and separated to this day. I don't know if I can or will ever be with another woman. But if I do, I hope it's not one like her. I don't really even know how to start this. But this is how my marriage has failed and why I know I need to get a divorce to get this out of the way first. I am a 24-year-old guy who was very naive. Not only was I naive, but I was a little bit insecure going into the whole thing. Because of the fact that no woman has ever found me attracted, and this was not only my first relationship but my first anything with anyone. So I did not necessarily know what to expect, and when most guys would usually cut out of the relationship. I didn't know when that stopping point was. So I allowed things to go on when they shouldn't have. I and my wife met back in 2017. She came to one of my house parties back when I had all the energy in the world. We were chilling and I got our number that night as friends, and I was not expecting anything more. Between that November going into February we had become best friends, and eventually she admitted that she had grown to have feelings for me. And from there, we started dating. About 3 months into us dating, we both knew what we wanted, but even more we started pushing towards getting engaged. I'm not sure when it happened, but at some point somehow, we all started looking at venues for our wedding. I should have taken this as a sign that things are moving way too fast. I should have cut out, but I never did. That July, I just went with things, got a nice ring and proposed. We were already best friends, so it was hard to fight those feelings that I had. Shortly after that, she became more bossy, and I didn't know how to deal with it, so I just agree with everything. You know, just like that, my homeboys out of nowhere started telling me that they didn't know about this girl anymore, that they had heard some things about her. But of course I didn't want to hear it, because I was already engaged to her and I loved her. We are now in December 2018. I had just moved out of my parents' home to be more independent. Since the wedding was going to be in April, she lived an hour away, so it would be easier to see her every day. Of course me and her had to talk, and she said that she had slept with maybe 1 or 2 guys, and I kept it as that. But what I didn't know is that she had lied to me about this. If Ho was a person, it would be her. One night I'm on Twitter, and I get a DM from an anonymous account, with one single link. I open the link and all I see right front and center is my girl sucking a man's genital rod in the back of a car. It was posted in around the time that we started dating. I knew my girl was a freak, but this hurt me directly in my soul. I went crazy. She had told me that she didn't know when, or she didn't even know who it was, and claimed that she had to have been on drugs at the time, and couldn't remember much of that time in her life. And then she said she thinks it's RP and we need to catch the guy. Of course we talked and our sexual life was so good. And being that she was and still is the only one I had slept with as a man, I quickly felt I had to let it go, because it was before us knowing each other, and I made efforts to delete it. As I dug down the rabbit hole I began to see more, but knew I couldn't and wasn't ready to look at that. So I left it alone and continued our relationship. And at this time I had lost so much respect for her, but I still loved her, and in the end, we ended up still getting married. After we had gotten married, the RP was still bothering me and I knew I had to get rid of it. So I went down the rabbit hole again and began to realize that the profile that had her profiles on was clearly ran by her. The account that sent me that link was likely from somebody else. I got insecure and went through her phone, just to find out that she knew exactly when that video happened and who it was with her. And her ex were texting back and forth about it, which hurt me even more and made me lose so much trust in her, because I knew she was lying, and she was willing to lie to me to my face. There were for sure hundreds of photos and videos on her Tumblr history, a website that was all her and different guys, which anyone can find through a simple Google search. But even with that our marriage have started now, and was so great that she will cook every night. We were having the most fun, which either one of us has never ever had in our lives. Until she suddenly and drastically got depressed. I tried to do whatever I could to make her happy, but when it's something medical, there is nothing much I can do. As this continued to pile up, the house began falling apart and I will get angrier and angrier because she would be at home all day. And she was a stay-at-home wife. I began to expect a lot out of her. She took it as me being abusive. I got a text one day that said that I am no longer her husband, and she needed some space, which led to her beginning to hang out more and more with her new friends that I had never met in my life. Nor was she going to have them come over. I was never going to meet them, according to her. I tried to be supportive because before this, I had accused her of cheating due to the obvious insecurities I had built up, because of that big old lie. One day I came upstairs and heard her on the phone with her new friends talking about how she was hanging out with this guy, and how he makes her feel and a number of other things. After she had gotten off the phone, I was asking her for clarity on what I had heard, which made it worse because she called me insecure and told me essentially that I was tripping and I didn't hear what I thought I heard. Shortly after this, she began taking long drives because I have been working from home lately. One night she had not come home until around 2 o'clock in the morning, stating that her and her friends were having too much fun, and she had been smoking marijuana, which I knew she did. And she had gotten too high and couldn't make it home. Although caught her in another big lie a week or two. Then I called one of her older friends I knew, and the friend said she had not been over to their place for a long time. After some time, after this, I would leave in the morning and not see her until the next day. She stopped coming home, and I knew something was up, but I didn't know what to do since it had already been put on me that I'm being overly insecure and not giving her space. We got to May 2020. I will come home from work and yet again she was not home earlier in the day. She sent me a picture of her and her friends. I noticed that her wedding ring was not on and she also claimed that she was getting her hair done. And in that picture, she had a specific pair of shoes on, but yet when I came home, the shoes are in her closet, as if she had taken that picture much earlier. I go for a walk and I try to clear my head, but soon I went back inside. I got on my computer that she also used. I ran a script that would log me into her computer account, and I got into her email. Nothing out of the usual was there. But then I remembered all of her photos she backs up through Google Photos. So I go to that website, and see all that I was expecting to see. Screenshot between her and this guy claiming that she needed abortion money, since they had sex without a condom. Oh my gosh, does this mean she might be pregnant around the time she was texting him back and forth? Not only did I find screenshots of text messages, but I found screenshots of a Tinder account she had made, as well as a fake Instagram that I did not know about. I was in shock and in pure disbelief. I will spare you some of the dramatics on my end, But after a series of conversation with her, she told me that those accounts are run by her new friend to use and scam men of their money because it's a hot girl summer for them. And after another heated argument, she said she was at a party and she had gotten too high, and next thing she knew, she was on her back, and someone was screwing her two legs wide open, and that she had been taken advantage of. I busted out in tears, losing my mind, and I tell her we need to report this man. But she says that not only does she not want it to be in the police database, but her friend was also taken advantage of as well, and that her friend's boyfriend ended up killing that man. To me this sounds totally unbelievable and extremely crazy. I agree that I made so many mistakes about this, but when I'm already heartbroken, irritated and confused. I was believing everything she had said, and she promised me that she would do anything to make our relationship better. She will stay home every night and cook, and even meet me at work to have sex in the car. She said she would do anything to keep our marriage. And of course, we just try to jump back into things. But as I began to question things over the next month that followed, she became less and less willing to answer. And even stating that I did not deserve the answers, and after asking so many times about it. Every time we discussed, there will be a new detail or the previous details will change a month after month. She informed me that she believes everything I have been hearing about her are lies. Everything her past friends has told me could be a makeup, and maybe she was never taken advantage of. In fact, this girls are making all things up, and nothing ever happened, and we can try and go back to what we were before. I looked at her with the most disgusting look that I have ever given her in her life. How can people make up hundreds this videos and pictures up? I could not believe what she was trying to do right now, acting as if nothing had ever happened and all the pain and suffering that she had just put on our relationship was nothing to her. I'm a Christian, so I believe the only reason for divorce is if someone cheats. I cut my losses and I announced to her that we are separating, and since then I have had the most stress-free life. I cannot believe all the crap I was willing to put up with and all that she had done. I did not believe in the red pill, but I will be honest, from what I know now is that women will try anything to get over on you. It's about knowing what you're worth.